I want to tell y'all a story about a man who inspired me. His name is Denmark Vesey. And Denmark was born into slavery in St. Thomas. He was brought to Charleston, South Carolina. And in 1799, he won $1,500 in a lottery. That was the stimulus check at the time. And you know, what did Denmark do with that stimmy? Well, he damn sure didn't go buy no crab legs, okay? He went and bought his freedom for $600. That would be almost 13 grand in 2021. But even though he was able to buy his freedom, he could not afford to purchase the freedom of his wife and his children. So he was living in Charleston, South Carolina, making a good living as a carpenter, but he was never satisfied with his own condition. He was never satisfied with being free because all his children and his wife were still enslaved. So he always wished to see what could be done for them. Not just them though. Other black people who were in bondage, other black people who were enslaved. See, it would have been easy for Denmark to turn his back on his people. He was a free man. He was wealthy. He enjoyed all the comforts that a free black man in that time could enjoy. But Denmark knew what some black people who achieved success in this white supremacist system know, and what too many black people who achieve success in this white supremacist system forget, and that's none of us are free until we all are free. But Denmark did something that a lot of black people don't do when we get in certain positions, and that's devise a plan to liberate those of us in our communities who haven't had the opportunities or who may not have the resources to liberate themselves. Denmark knew that he was living well, but other black people in that time, right in Charleston, South Carolina, were not. See, he wasn't concerned with anything self-serving. He knew his purpose came in service to others, and he organized and led what potentially would have been one of the biggest slave revolts in American history. See, what Denmark planned to do was kill the slaveholders in Charleston, liberate the slaves, and sail to the Black Republic of Haiti for refuge. Why am I telling y'all this story? Because Denmark Vesey was a black person just like all of you who was necessary. And even though he had achieved more than other black people at that time, even though he was in a better position than other black people during that time, he couldn't enjoy any of it because he knew that there were other black people still in bondage who hadn't received the opportunity to liberate themselves that he did. So he decided to take matters in his own hands and go back and free those who didn't have the opportunity to free themselves. That's why I say everybody here is necessary, because y'all have to have the spirit of Denmark Vesey in you. And when you go out into the world with your degree and you get into these spaces, you have to take what you have learned and will learn back to the communities you come from and free those still in bondage. Now, know that in doing this, it's gonna be opposition, just like it was for Denmark Vesey. The reason the slave revolt didn't happen was because of two slaves that were opposed to Denmark's plan. See, these two slaves who were opposed to Denmark had a stellar reputation with their masters, okay? See, some Negroes be so happy to be in good with white folks that they forget where they came from. They don't care about the liberation of black people because in their mind, making it is getting in good with their oppressor. They happy continuing to make massa rich. Let massa eat, at least we get the leftovers. I mean, to me, that's no way to live. What y'all think? So being that they wanted to please their white masters more than they wanted to liberate their own people, they told on Denmark. So the city organized the citizens militia, and white militias and other groups of armed men started rounding up everyone who was in on the plot, and they ended up hanging the good brother Denmark Vesey. I'm telling y'all that part of the story because I want you to know that when you go out into the world and you decide to do something that's bigger than you, and you are intentional about pouring into your own people, and you are intentional about taking what you've learned and bringing it back to us and the communities we come from, it's gonna be haters. It's gonna be folks who don't want to see you liberate other black people, and it's sad that some of those people share the same hue as you. Why somebody would attempt to stop someone who's doing things that will ultimately benefit us, the black community as a whole, I will never know, but guess what? You gotta step anyway. I said earlier, y'all the big steppers we've been waiting for. You can't walk by fate. Every day you're gonna wake up to some brand new hate. Everybody ops. But that's what happens when you choose to do something that's bigger than you. That's what happens when you choose to serve something greater than yourself. That's what happens when you are necessary to the advancement of your people.